She wanted chaos dressed as calm. He gave her peace, and she vanished. He warned us but we laughed. Freud said love makes a man helpless. And no one believed him until they did. She doesn't crave calm, she craves the fire hidden inside calm, not comfort, not kindness, but the thrill of a man she cannot read. You offer roses, you offer reassurance, she offers distance, not because you're wrong but because you're predictable. Freud saw it long before text messages, long before dating apps. He listened to women when they weren't performing. He saw the war behind the smile. She says she wants sweet, but her body chases sharp. She says she wants stability but lies awake dreaming of collapse. Why? Because she doesn't fully know, but her instincts do. Freud called it primitive, not evil, not broken, just raw. Desire that doesn't speak in logic, desire that isn't moral, desire that lives in shadows. A woman says she wants safe but obsesses over the one who vanished. She says she wants soft but aches for the one who made her feel invisible, because he's not easy, he's not accessible, he's a question without an answer. And once a man becomes the answer, he becomes a story already told, and she stops reading. You gave her everything, she grew colder not warmer. You wrote her poems, she ghosted you, bled honesty, she went dry. Freud called it repetition, compulsion. We chase what hurts us not because we like pain but because pain feels like home. Women evolved to test, to skin, to survive. And safety never taught them how to love, only how to settle. But conflict pulls out a deeper signal. She watches how you react to her storms. If you collapse, she leaves. If you stay centered, she stays confused. And in that confusion comes attraction. No one told you this, they told you to be open, to pour your soul out, to text paragraph after paragraph and pray. She respects it, but she doesn't want your emotions. She wants your essence, the part of you untouched by her moods, by her silence. The part that cannot be shaken because it was never hers to hold, and that's what keeps her orbiting. Not your love, not your availability, but your gravity. She didn't pull away to run, she pulled away to feel your strength, not through comfort, through calm, through silence. She didn't want saving, she wanted stillness. She didn't need your love, she needed your edge. Freud once said anatomy is destiny, not because biology controls us but because instincts drive what logic can't. Under every word, there's an urge, under every touch a test. Female desire isn't soft, it's sharp, it's raw. It wants power, not control over her, control over yourself. You were taught to be gentle, to be soft, to be emotionally available. You were taught that would keep her close, but it pushed her away because she doesn't want peace, she wants polarity. She wants your spine, not your heart. She picks fights. She pulls back when things get close, not because she's broken but because she's testing your frame. She needs to know, will you bend or will you hold? She doesn't crave agreement, she craves your refusal to break. She doesn't want to own you, she wants to orbit you. And the moment you chase, the moment you explain, the moment you beg, you become known, and known becomes safe, and safe becomes boring. Desire dies when everything is given. Desire lives in mystery and imbalance, in the tension between yes and no. Freud said love and conflict are connected. He believed the modern man is torn, trying to be strong and soft, dominant and obedient, alpha and emotional. But these are opposites. Desire doesn't care about harmony, it craves chaos, under control. She wants to surrender, but only to a man who cannot be moved. Not by her moods, not by her silence. You gave her your truth, she walked. You gave her your loyalty, she lost interest. You showed your heart, she looked for someone else because she didn't want your emotions. She wanted your self-control. You thought being available made you strong, but it made you bend. And the moment you bent, she stopped looking up to you. She can rely on you, she can lean on you, but she can't desire you if she owns you. Freud called desire a tension between hunger and resistance. If there's no resistance, there's no thrill. Love isn't in long messages or full confession, it's in the space you protect, the silence you keep, the edge you never dull. The unconscious doesn't want honesty, it wants myth, it wants power, it wants the man who doesn't flinch. She doesn't want to see all of you, she wants to wonder, to reach, to never quite hold. And you, modern man, with your therapy, with your tenderness, with your full disclosure, have become visible, predictable, forgettable. You are emotionally safe and sexually invisible because safety doesn't spark surrender, it doesn't burn through skin, it doesn't pull her into longing. She doesn't fantasize about peace, she aches for power, not over her but inside you. Every myth, every poem, every unspoken fantasy whispers of one thing: submission, but not to weakness, to a man who cannot be owned. This is why Freud obsessed over the ego, not to inflate it, but to tame what lies beneath it. The idea is hunger, impulse, chaos, and the man who obeys it becomes a slave, not a sovereign. No woman kneels for that. She may flirt, she may play, but her soul won't bow. She only surrenders to the man who has already conquered himself. That's the paradox. You don't win her by chasing, you win her by becoming not for her, but in spite of her. The man who leads himself needs no followers, and because of that she follows. But you were sold a lie that emotional transparency earns trust, That openness outranks direction, that being nice means being loved. She doesn't want your mirror, she wants your mountain. She wants polarity, not equality. She wants you solid, so she can soften, and when you don't give her that, she blames herself. Then you blame yourself and both of you drown in confusion. But Freud would say this is not failure, this is misalignment. You aren't too soft, you aren't centered. She isn't cold, she is restless. Because her nervous system is begging for one thing, a man she cannot move, a man who chooses not apologizes, a man who leads not explains. And when she meets him, her logic protests, but her body bows, not because he is cruel but because he is whole, because he doesn't need her to feel complete. Because he walks with direction, not desire. You become that man not by watching, not by wanting, but by transforming. Freud called it sublimation, turning base impulse into higher art. Your lust becomes focus, your rage becomes legacy, your heartbreak becomes silence, and from silence power rises. She wants that, not the man who texts paragraphs, not the man who over-explains, but the man whose stillness roars louder than noise. He walks into the room and says nothing, yet the air shifts. He doesn't need approval, and that is why it's offered. The more you chase, the colder she becomes, not to hurt but because feminine desire cannot bloom in the soil of emotional begging. She needs gravity, not groveling, and gravity only lives in the man who will not kneel. This is what Freud knew and what modern men fear, that she will not love your soul until she respects your spine, that love is not your starting point, it is your ego, the reward for holding your center. You were told to lead with heart, but Freud would whisper lead with spine. Because when you give up your masculine root for a touch, for a glance, for comfort, you don't gain love, you buy contempt. She won't say it, she may not know it, but her eyes will, her tone will, and slowly the heat will die, because she cannot desire a man who has no gravity. She doesn't test you to hurt you, she tests you to find out if you are real. She doesn't test you because she's cruel, she tests you because her instincts are scanning, searching for the man who will not flinch, the man who can say no without rage, who can walk away without drama, who can love without losing himself. Freud called it the reality principle, the power to delay gratification, to trade impulse for sovereignty. And the man who cannot delay, who breaks at every silence, who begs at every withdrawal, who reacts to every cold stare, is not ready for reverence. He is not a man, he is a boy looking for his mother inside a lover's body, and that kills desire, because she cannot mother you and desire you. At the same time, the moment she feels like your therapist, the romance dies. You think she left because of what you did. Freud would say, she left because of what you stopped being. You stopped being mystery, you became routine, you became known, and desire does not survive inside predictability. You were loyal, you were kind, but you were not sovereign, and in her eyes that makes you replaceable. But this isn't the end, it's the beginning, because it means you don't need to become. You just need to remember what was buried, your silence that doesn't need a microphone, your edge that doesn't ask permission, your purpose that moves with or without her. Freud said the goal isn't pleasure, it's mastery, not over her, over yourself. So the solution is not resentment, it is refusal to play, to chase, to apologize for your fire. She is not your prize, she is your reflection. Lead yourself and she will follow, orbit her and she will flee, not because she's cruel, but because biology doesn't care about fantasy. Freud dared to speak the truth. Love isn't enough, not without power, not without tension, not without psychological gravity. A man who earns respect before he earns love will always have both, but the man who seeks love to earn respect will have neither. So here is your call, not to harden, not to hate, but to remember. You were never built to kneel, you were not born to beg for loyalty, you were forged to lead yourself so completely that whether she stays or vanishes, your mission never pauses. Because when you become that man, not arrogant but unshaken, something changes. The same silence that once scared them now draws them. Because they can feel it, you don't need them, you choose them, and that makes you magnetic. Freud's final truth was never that women are broken. It was that they are attuned to something ancient. They don't surrender to softness, they surrender to sovereignty, and sovereignty is not how much you give, but how little you flinch. So stop bleeding for validation, start standing in truth, build a life so complete that love becomes a choice, not a drug. And if this woke something inside you, if it made you remember the fire before the world told you to kneel, then don't walk away silent. Like, share, subscribe, support the mission, because this isn't just a video, it's a revolt. You are not here to be chosen, you are here to become.